Hey guys, it's Lisa. Welcome to Banning, Panning and Beyond, and my first Empties video since I started my no-buy. So I'm going to call this my Empties and Exits. So it covers anything that I've used up as well as items that I'm decluttering. Now I had hoped to try and do a video on my cataloguing, however the end of the month sort of seemed to rush up and I wanted to get this video done before it got too far into February. So I'm probably not going to go too in depth. I'm not much of a reviewer, but I will show you the products that I have gone through this month, and I will say that I believe all of the items I've decluttered from January were because of the cataloguing process that I've started. So I'm going to hold them up, and some I'll probably just rush straight through just because there's not really that much to say about all of them. So just to start with, I have my deodorant, and the reason I included that in my empties was because when I first started organising my cupboards, I realised I had, I think it was either 6 or 7 deodorants in there. I'm now down to 3, so I probably won't show them again, but that was the reason that I actually included that this time. Then I have a hairspray. Now I actually have 2 hairsprays left. Probably one is full, one is maybe half full. I very rarely use hairspray, so you'll probably never ever see another empty of that one. I'm actually not I don't fuss with my hair very much, and I tend to just let it air dry, and I've put in a bit of texture spray or something like that, but in general I'm sort of like just pull it up into a ponytail and be done with it most of the time. This is a texture spray from NAC. Now hopefully you guys can see that it's going to focus in okay. There is a bit of reflection there from the ring light. Not overly fussed on this particular product. It was given to me by my mother-in-law because she doesn't use texture sprays, and it was part of a pack that she got. So I used it up, but there are actually other ones that I do prefer. Then this one took me forever. We have the Palmer's as a coconut oil body lotion. My daughter actually left this behind when she moved out, and I did like the smell, but I can't say that I would repurchase it because I didn't find that it was actually that moisturizing. So then we have the Garnier Skin Active Micellar Cleansing Water and Oil. Now again, a lot of reflection. I don't think that you guys are actually going to be able to see this. I'll see when I play the video back, but absolutely love this micellar water. I find that the normal one doesn't remove my eye makeup very well. That I have to go in with up to 3 or 4 times sometimes to make sure I get rid of it all, and then the next morning I still wake up and find like I've got black under my eyes. This stuff gets rid of it like first go, so I have actually repurchased this already. And then trying to get through these because I've actually got a fair few empties, more than I normally do. So we have the Skinstitute Retinol Serum. I've had this for a long time. I'm not sure how effective the retinol still was in that, but I wanted to use it up, particularly because I have other products that I have other retinols, but I don't like throwing things out just for the sake of it, so that I can move on to other things as long as it's still going okay. But like I said, it doesn't really, there's nothing really to stand out about that one. Hopefully then the other ones I've got I'll be able to tell, because I had no sensitivity to that particular product whatsoever, and I know generally with retinols initially you will find them a little bit drying, but I never felt that with that one. And I know it doesn't actually tell you what sort of strength retinol product it is on the packaging. Then I have 2 more little body lotions that I just wanted to get over and done with out of the way. They're not something you can buy, they're just like a like, you know, one of those little ones that you get when you stay in hotels overnight. And we have the Good Molecules Niacinamide Brightening Toner. Now this was the very last toner. You can see it's a tiny little sample bottle, and I was actually shocked when I started using this. It's been years since I'd used a toner, and I was really amazed, even after double cleansing, that this still managed to get dirt and makeup off my face. So after using this, I decided definitely that I wanted to keep toner as part of my skincare routine. Then we have it's the Fresh Rose Face Mask. I don't know, I've had a few of these. I'm sorry if you cannot see the actual labelling on the product. There's a lot of reflection as I'm looking in the viewfinder there. So I like the product. It smells nice and it's very mild. I'd say that it's not something that I would probably ever repurchase. You know, it was nice to use up and be done with it, and actually did last. A small little sample pot like that lasted me ages, and it is a product that you could use on a daily basis, so hence why it's probably so mild. Then we have the Lucas Pawpaw Ointment. Really, I bought this for my lips originally when they were a little bit dry quite a while back, and I found that it actually dried my lips out more. So I decided to, in the end, I just used it on my elbows, like to sort of moisturize the elbows up, and kept it away from my lips. So that's finally gone. That took me a fair while. Now the other sort of cleansing product I've got here is these makeup removal wipes, and it took me a long time to actually fork out the money. They're quite expensive compared to some of the other makeup removal wipes, and I love them because with other ones I found that if I ever tried to use them to remove eye makeup, I got quite sensitive around my eyes, that I had that little bit of a burning sensation, and I never ever get it with these. So I actually have a few in my backups already, so didn't need to repurchase that one. But I don't see myself ever buying any other ones again, because of the fact that even though I don't generally use wipes to remove my eye makeup, sometimes if I'm away and I'm sort of rushing to get rid of it, then that I will use that rather than like a micellar water. But yeah, I think just to play it safe, I'm going to stick with those ones in future. Now this was an interesting product, and I don't know where else you can get it from, but I know that this is available on Beauty Bay. It's where I originally got it from. It's a little like an under eye primer, and it's completely, you can see this, it's completely gone. I hope that you can see in there. When I bought it, it was like a two for one, and I can't say that I was overly impressed with it. I'm finding as I'm getting older, I'm getting a lot drier and the deeper wrinkles around my eyes, and I'm looking for something that's a lot more hydrating than this. So I will use up the other one that I've got. It probably will take me a while, but I've been on the hunt, and I actually went into Mecca, and again, I'm not sure if anybody else that is from overseas would be aware, but Mecca is like a beauty retailer like Sephora or Ulta, and I went in there with my daughter yesterday and I picked up a few samples, and one of them actually was a hydrating under eye primer. So, and so far I'm actually quite impressed with it. So once I get rid of, or go through, if I don't declutter it, if I once this next one is gone, then I will be moving on probably to a different under eye primer. Still with the eyes, we've got the Verso Super Eye Serum with retinol. So this was the only product I was aware of at the time that actually had a retinol in it. And this is my second sample. I'm onto my second sample tube. This is the first one to go. And I literally was using this every night as my eye serum with no issues. Since I've opened up the second one, I'm getting a lot of again, sort of I feel very dry. I'm not that my skin's flaky, but I feel very dry, and I've found that the creases all around my eyes here have gotten very, very deep. It could be a few things that are contributing. It could be a bit dehydrated in general, or I haven't been sleeping well, but I'm finding that this one is actually like the new tube of this. I am feeling that little bit of a burning sensation with it, so I don't know whether this one was not effective anymore and why I wasn't getting that, but I've actually decided to back off and only use it maybe 2 to 3 times a week now. What to say with this one? And the Saatchi Peony Eye Cream. It's just a little sample pot that I got from Mecca. Tiniest little bit in there. I do have a second sample pot with a bit more in it, so whatever was left in this I just transferred into the other one. I've only used it the once, so I can't really comment on how good it is, but it is very expensive, so it'd want to perform really, really well to be worth it. So we shall see after I've used the rest of the other sample pot that I've got. The Hangover, we got it's like a priming face primer, so it's a water-based face primer. 2 of these, and I actually didn't mind them. They seem to play really well under all my foundations, even though it was water-based. It's still I keep looking at my makeup, sorry, as I'm talking, but yeah, it seemed to perform quite well even under my silicone sort of based foundations. So not a bad one, but I don't think that I'd ever repurchase it. The thing that I'm after, because I do have quite a bit of redness like around my cheek area, a little bit on my chin, and I have scarring on my nose from being sunburnt way too many times as a kid, and I do have a green based primer, but I don't find it that effective. I think eventually when it comes time to repurchase another primer that I'll go for another green one, or I'll try and get myself a really good green color corrector. When I went to Mecca, they didn't have one except for in a face palette, and I didn't really need the other colors in it, so I wasn't going to fork out big bucks for just a palette with a tiny little square with just the green color corrector. So I might try Sephora one day when I'm not in any rush. Like, I'll just make do with what I've got in the meantime. Okay, so we've got a couple of face masks here as well. So Ulta Beauty, that was a gift, and it was quite cute. It had like little stars. I don't know if you can see in the little picture right up the top there in the corner. It had little stars all over it. It was scary but cute, so, and it was quite nice, but I can't purchase directly. Well, I could, I guess, through a forward shipper, but it just wouldn't be worth my time or effort to be trying to resource that particular mask. This was another one that was gifted to me from somebody in the US a while back. It was somebody I knew, and can't say anything good about this one. Sorry, my husband's walking around the house, hopefully not listening. And yeah, this one actually burned my skin. It left me feeling extremely sensitive afterwards, so needless to say, I won't ever be repurchasing that one. Almost there as far as the empties. I have the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. It's like a finishing powder sample card, and honestly, to say anything about this was just the fact that there was such a small amount on there that it was really hard to tell whether it was worth it. Probably out of my price range to repurchase at any point anyway. And we have 2 of, I do not even know how to pronounce this, Marlin and Goats. Malin and Goats. It's a grapefruit face cleanser. So that was the samples from Mecca, and I mean, they were okay. It was a nice soft sort of like gentle cleanser. Smelt really nice from the grapefruit, but I have so many cleansers, it's going to be quite a while before I need to purchase another one. And again, being a brand carried by Mecca, it's going to be relatively, I'd say, expensive compared to other cleansers that you can get, so I probably wouldn't repurchase that one. This Sig Magic brush shampoo, little sample sachet, don't mind it. It seems to work well. I do have the full size product of this one, which obviously it's going to take me a while to get through, so yeah, well, needless to say, I won't be repurchasing that anytime soon. And the last two products I've got in my empties, another 2 sample sachets. So I'm still working through all my little samples and minis at this stage. Again, forgive me if I say this wrong, Ole Henriksen. It's a Sheer Transformation Perfecting Moisturiser. Really nothing special in my opinion, or not that I could tell from a sample size that small. I just don't get to use enough of the product long enough to see any real difference, but you know, it used it up and it was fine. However, this Peter Thomas Roth, it's a Hungarian thermal water, hated it, hated the smell. Needless to say, I will never be repurchasing that one. So that is all my empties for January, and yeah, like I said, a fair bit. I don't normally have that many, so I'm just gonna slowly just move over all my exit products for the month, and again, a few we've got here. So I'll quickly start with these. It's 2 pencil sharpeners. One was from Sephora that I bought in Hawaii 5 years ago. It has been really, really good, but it's finally, just little, where it clips together at the back, has decided to break, and it just, every time I go to use it, it falls apart. I have quite a few pencil sharpeners, so I just thought there was no point persevering with that anymore. And then we just got a cheap one, for like a drugstore one from our Priceline Pharmacy, called Savvy by DB is the brand. Completely useless and blunt, so I've decided to get rid of both of those. So they are going. Then we have the LA Girl Luminous Glow Skin Illuminator. So nothing like fantastic to say. It was one of those on sale purchases I made quite a while back, and it's fine. I mean, I can put it on my hand and show you guys. I don't know if you can see the colour there, but if I rub it in, it's a nice enough product. It gives a nice glow to your skin, but it's just not something I ever reached for. And then as I was going through, I went to test it and discovered that the actual cap, like it's the bit where it's got where it screws on, it's actually snapped off and left inside the cap there. So I just figured, oh, it's time to go. I never reached for it anyway, so I'm not going to like worry about keeping that now and having to try and work out some way of stopping it from drying out and not going everywhere. So I've got a few sunscreen products here. These are the Mecca Cosmetica. They're To Save Face SPF 50 plus super screen sunscreen. I mean, both of these have expired. I think I think both of them August last year. Barely touched them, and you know, I didn't even check, and at the time I thought, you know, I need to start using sunscreen. It's something I've been very neglectful on, and a while back I actually was diagnosed if you could call it that. It was discovered that I was chronically low in vitamin D from probably me just with my skin being very fair and freckly, and working indoors for the last more than a decade. I just don't tend to go out in the sun. I burn way too easy. So I was chronically low in vitamin D, and I got put on vitamin D supplements, and I also have the issue with recently I had gone off the estrogen pill due to my age, and when I did that, my skin just broke out. I ended up really, really oily, like back when in my teenage years, and was getting constant breakouts. So I was put on a low dose antibiotic, which what actually ended up doing was, well, I should say one of the side effects is that you become very photosensitive. So for someone like me who burns easily already, it was the last thing I needed. So I've basically continuing to avoid the sun and staying on those vitamin D tablets. But I figured for the odd time, sometimes we do go outside, and for whatever reason we're out there that little bit longer. So I thought, I can't be neglectful anymore. I really need to start, putting SPF product on. I've also recently had a spot removed that turned out to be precancerous, so we got it out early, which is quite funny considering I never go out in, I should say not funny, haha, but ironic, because I never actually go out in the sun. But anyway, hence why I started digging into these, and then I discovered that they were expired, so they're not going to be effective as a sunscreen, and they also left my face quite oily, so not something that I will probably replace. I'll source an alternative, but I do have one left, so I'm going to just use that up maybe for my chest and neck and maybe my arms or something like that, just so I don't waste the last one. They were free samples that I got in a beauty loot box from Mecca, so I didn't waste my money, but I don't want to waste the last one that I do have. These are more SPF products. They're an SPF 30, the Sunbum Balms. I got these in Hawaii and that, like I said, that was 5 years ago, and they are expired in 2015, one of them, and two of them in 2016. So you can say I never used them. Shame on me, like they are all pretty much unused. I'm just winding that up one. You can see that's like almost a full product in there. They're all like that. So unfortunately they are going to have to go, and I will be on the hunt for another SPF lip balm. So preferably a 30 plus, but we'll see what I can find. And then we have a hair building fibre product from Topic, and it is black, so unfortunately not suitable for my hair, but I did test it, and it actually did feel, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to get sparser and sparser. You can see my scalp more, and when I put it in my hair, it actually made me look like I had regrowth where I actually did have black hair. So it was quite an interesting look, but and it did also sort of texturize the roots a little bit, but yeah, unfortunately the wrong color for me. Very expensive product, but yeah, it has to go, unfortunately. And down to 3 left, and I have got it's just only the one, but it's one of those deep cleansing pore strips that you put across your nose. I don't generally get congested around there, surprisingly, even though I have an oily T-zone. Don't find it to be overly effective. Maybe if I was, a pimply teenager, I don't know, since I've been an adult, generally don't have issues with blackheads. Like I said, did in my younger years, but yeah, just the one left in there. My husband said he's going to try it, so it's out of my collection, and we'll see whether or not he uses it. So the last 2 products I've got are both like cleansing milk or water. So this one is well and truly past its expiry. I've had it for years. Didn't like it because being a milk, just putting it on to remove my eye makeup, I found like even when I tried to put the smallest amount on my cotton pad, it would get into my eyes and it just felt really yuck. So I was sort of using it just like if I sort of had a bit of a mishap with doing my makeup, you know, I got a little bit of mascara like under my eye or whatever, just to use for cleaning up. But figured it is well and truly past its use by. It's only got a 6-month shelf life once it's open, so I'm going to get rid of that. And this one I'm passing on to my daughter. She uses micellar water. I bought this after my the one with the oil ran out, and yeah, just didn't like it. It took me way too many goes to try and get my eye makeup off, so I just thought I'd bite the bullet. I'm gonna have to suck up the fact that I wasted my money on this. And yeah, I've decided, even though I purchased this before my my no-buy started, so hasn't had to come out of my budget, but it was sitting there ready to go as that one was getting lower and lower, and I just figured no, I'm not going to put up with it. I've really hated using it, and because I know I can pass it on to my daughter, that's fine, and I've repurchased the other one. So that's everything. So I'm not sure how I'll go next month, but yeah, I basically feel that even if my empties are not so big, that the items I'm decluttering will continue. We'll see how that goes, but that's sort of my prediction based on the fact that I've started cataloguing my collection. An update on that is that I've cleared out, you've seen in my last video, I had stuff all over the floor. I have managed to go through all of that. I've created a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet, I'm not purely just counting up how many of this and how many of that. It's quite a detailed spreadsheet, and I'm trying to use it for multiple purposes. So I have put in the items that I've put in the recommended retail price for all the products, so that they I can work out what my makeup collection is worth. If, you know, I had to, it's sort of like a replacement value. If I had to insure it, what would it be worth if I had to replace every item I had? Obviously I'm adding in anything that I purchase along the way through my no-buy year as far as replacements go, and I have a column where I calculate the value of any of the products that I use up as well. So I've got 3 sort of figures, financial figures there. Even minis, I've tried to give a value to any minis or samples. If there's a weight there, I've based it on the price per gram or mil of the full-size product where possible. The only thing I haven't sort of been able to really give a value to is when I get these little sample pots, because I really have no idea the product weight that's in them. It's just not seriously worth me trying to work that out. So yeah, there's a fair bit in the spreadsheet, including when I first use a product, when I finish a product up, because that way I can sort of work out how long a product lasts me. There's a lot of products that I don't know when I first used it, so if I've already used it but I don't know when, I will put that it's unknown for the date that I first used it. And that's not really a bother for me for colour cosmetics so much. It's more to do with like skincare and body care, that sort of thing. Yeah, so hopefully in the next video I'll get to show you that spreadsheet. Obviously there's no point going into too much detail. It's much easier when I can show you the spreadsheet there, but it is going to take me quite a while to not only get through everything that I've got, but then to find all that information out and put it in. And as I'm completing a a category or a product type within a category, I'm trying to take photos as well, so that at the end of the year I can take photos of each category again and have a visual idea of how much I've gone through, and just see the differences in the size of my collection. So yeah, so that's an update on where I'm at with cataloguing, and hopefully I haven't rambled on too long. I don't even know how long I've been recording for. So any feedback you'd like to give, any questions you might have on any of the products, please feel free to ask, and hopefully I will be up with another video soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.